make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door. It's the Richard Wilmore Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Wilmore.
I try to do these as much as possible when people are available on Mondays because I think it's fun.
Yeah.
James, thanks for coming over.
Anytime.
You have children. How many kids do you have?
I just got the one.
Just have one. How old?
She's 16 months old.
That's it?
Yeah.
How?
She's brand new to the world.
How's she liking it so far? Is she okay? Is she having fun here?
She doesn't know enough to be upset about much of it. You know, she's pretty happy with it.
That's
so
good.
yeah.
How has that changed you? How has that been?
I mean, it changes a lot of things. So I'm a musician, so for like doing band practice kind of stuff, that's a whole ordeal now because my wife is incredible and she is incredibly very supportive of me and wants me to do music because she knows that it's important to me and that it makes me happy. So on nights when I have band practice or whatever, she's kind of left with the baby, or thankfully, since baby goes to bed early enough, maybe I'll be able to help put her down and then head out the door.
And then your day starts.
Right.
Yes.
Sure, yeah. But like, so if I want to go to a show on the weekend or something, you know, either we will have to find someone to watch baby and then maybe we can go and do stuff, or like I'll have to go alone and she'll watch her, and then, you know, I'll trade off some other night where she can go do, wife things and I can hang with baby.
You can be adults again and real people.
Yeah. So it's unique, but it's also really fun because I don't know. There's a whole other side to things that I never thought of, or like there's all this weird technology. I play drums in this band called Trashy TV, really fun band, and I needed to practice drums, but baby needs to sleep sometimes.
Not conducive to sleeping.
Right.
Drums, no.
And when I was growing up, there was no way to deaden drums. I mean, you could throw like blankets and rubber things all over your drum set, and that would be fine. But now they have all this crazy new technology to like, you can play your drums and the heads don't resonate as much, and the cymbals have all these holes in them, and it kills the tone of them, and the volume too. So I can practice drums 2 rooms down from where baby's sleeping, and she doesn't wake up.
Oh.
Yeah, it's incredible. I put her down, I walk down the hall, put on headphones, practice along to the new demos, and it's great. Like,
One-stop shop is your house. You can,
Yeah.
It's a studio. Yeah, it's a studio, and you live there. Is that
right.
how that works out?
much like you.
Yeah, I don't know
This
what that
is-
would be like. Is your wife musically inclined or artistically inclined at all?
Not really. That's the interesting part to me is I always when you're growing up you think like, you know, oh, I want to find someone who shares all these interests and like really wants to and loves music as much as me, and like that didn't happen. My wife could care less about a lot of music. She likes a lot of music that I show her, and she enjoys that I'm passionate about it, and I enjoy that, you know, she's passionate about her things, and so it just kind of matches. It worked out really well. I think we complement each other really well. It's just, yeah, she doesn't care too much about it. We take part in some church retreat things, and when we're on team or taking part in these ministries, they always ask us to do music together. And I'm like, I'm sorry, babe. You're just going to have to, like, this is forever now. Whenever we get asked to do these things, they're going to say, why don't you guys play guitar and sing? And so, honestly, she's gotten really great at singing.
Oh, wow.
Like, she wasn't that much into it initially, but we just got back from a retreat yesterday, and she was putting baby down and she was singing the whole time. And I was like, she's gotten really good at singing.
That's so cool. Do you think, like, that the baby's going to, like, if she were to be like, I want to be a drum player, like, I want to play the drums, you'd be like, rock on, Joe, go do it?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm positive. I'm positive she's gonna get into some weird something just to spite me. Like, I know she's gonna get super into like K-pop and like just like guitar's dead, Dad. You know.
Is that what drums were for you? Like the thing that your parents didn't want you to get into, or?
So when I started playing instruments, my parents wanted all of us. I have 2 siblings. They told all of us we're gonna play an instrument. And so I tell people I picked up drums as like a way to be like, is this what you wanted, Mom and Dad? Like, because yeah, it was loud. And so, but joke's on me because I'm the only one who still plays instruments.
Oh, wow.
Like my other siblings, they were just like, whatever. But after playing drums for a little while, I wanted to play guitar, and then I picked that up, and I learned about enough to start writing songs, and then I just took off from there. And so, again, I'm not entirely positive that's what they wanted, but it's been amazing for me. It's been a lot of fun.
So you mentioned one band. How many bands are you in? I feel like you're always posting, I was playing with this band, I was in this band, my band is playing here, and it's always a different name.
Well, so I'm only in the one, well, technically only in the one active band right now,
Right.
Trashy TV. I have my solo project stuff. We just put out the record, and I'm trying to get people together to do that right now. And then, just I don't play out too often anymore. I try to keep it to one act. But I could see things getting out of hand if they wanted to very easily. Like, if you play drums, you're kind of in demand. I remember there's a story my dad told me about my opa, my grandfather. He loved playing baseball. And after the birth of his 3rd child, his wife my oma had to sit him down and said, you can only play in 3 teams. You have to be home some nights. And I was like, who's playing baseball for more than 3 teams, having 2 children? And like with Trashy TV and doing my own solo stuff, I had a vision of me, 3 years down the line, my wife sitting me down and be like, you have to only be in 3 bands.
Take one
So,
lane,
like,
please.
Yeah. I was like, I had no idea. I was like, how could it ever get that out of hand? And I was like, oh, I could definitely see this.
How easily that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you grow up in San Antonio?
Yes, I grew up in San Antonio. Technically, I grew up on the far, far north side. So if I had gone to where I was zoned to, I would have gone to Smithson Valley, which is out towards Bulverde, kind of near the county line. But I went to Central Catholic, which is in downtown. So I got to drive like an hour every day to and from.
That sounds fun.
It gave me a lot of time to listen to music. So
That's true. When did you become so interested in music?
I don't really know. Like, I have a couple of origin stories I could get into. If you really just want like my love of listening to music, or if you want my love of playing music, like
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Let's just do playing music because that one's easier to pinpoint. My friend Charles went with me to a show at a place called the Sanctuary, which I think is now called Zombies. This band named The Walkmen was playing, and I was really into The Walkmen. And I was just starting to write my own songs, and I had this mentality of like, I'm never going to be good enough, like, all my stuff is crappy. I don't want to play it in front of people. I'm never going to be good enough. There was this local band that opened the show called Big Soy. And Big Soy, like, I owe my life to this band. It's just these 2 guys, one plays drums, one plays guitar, and it was awesome. Their songs were so good, and their performance was just visceral and so raw, and like it wasn't polished at all. And at the end of the set, they knocked over all their instruments, and like I just remember sitting there and having this realization, like, is this what you can do? Like, you can be this? Like, because I had in my mind, you had to be like Van Halen and learn how to play guitar like crazy good before you could ever go in front of people. And then I saw that, and I was like, they would hate to hear this, but I was like, it lowered the bar of entry to a point where I was like, I can do that.
And people will show up.
I can do that, and I want to do that, like, so badly at that moment. I was like, I want to do that. That looks so fun. I bought their album after the show. I have, like, all Big Soy CDs. I saw a number of shows from them, and it was always so inspiring. Like, just always like, God, this is so much fun, just seeing them, and it's what inspired me to go start my own band. Like, I don't know if it was the next week or shortly thereafter, I was like, do you play instruments? Do you play instruments? Like, let's do stuff, you know? And yeah, like it's just it's kind of a drug. Like once you get going on it, it's just so fun.
Has the music scene in San Antonio always been so like vibrant? I feel like there's so much
Kind
talent
of.
here.
Yeah, it's interesting because San Antonio's very unique. It's you always want to compare it to other places, but it's unfair to do so. San Antonio is its own unique animal. Culturally, it is so strong. There's this very strong Hispanic heritage in San Antonio that influences everything. And in other places I've been, for example, Houston's culture is kind of so varied, and everybody's in their own lane. And so when I was there, I interacted with a certain group of bands and artists. And when I left, I realized there was all this other stuff happening that I never got to see or take part in. And in San Antonio, I feel like it's got kind of a little bit of a smaller town mentality. I may not still, face to face with every other band or subgenre or stuff, but we have so many events that cross those boundaries that I know and recognize so many of them. Yeah, so it's always been very, very vibrant and very supportive, I found.
So one of the reasons why I invited you on the show was I love music and I love live music. I will go see bands I don't know, just like to be in that energy. And I would love to have them all on my show, but one, I can't, and two, nobody fits in my apartment. So
Right.
I felt like I still wanted to talk about what was happening in San Antonio and the things, there are cats in there that are screaming to get out, that people should be listening to and going to see. And I know that you're super into it, so I wanted to talk to you and let you spew to the people who they should be listening to and watching.
I mean, it's hard to say. It's different for everyone, but this coming weekend, actually, there's a showcase. I don't even have any part in promoting this or taking part in booking it. I just love it. It's called the San Antonio Music Showcase, and it's organized by the San Antonio Current, which is a local publication here, and a number of other people. And they put on a bunch of different shows along the St. Mary's Strip, which is where a lot of live music just generally happens. And I think it's like $5, and you can just bounce from venue to venue to venue, whatever you want to see. And there's not everyone's going to be there because it's one night, but there's a lot of great stuff happening that night. There's the place I'm probably going to end up being is this wine bar. I didn't know there was a wine bar at this building, but it's the building right outside of Paper Tiger, or across the street. They say it's in an old gas station, and I'm like, I think I know what building that is, and I've never seen anything in its place.
Weird.
But they said there's a wine bar in there now, and there's going to be some singer-songwriters there. I know all those guys. Very Old Morris, it's what Jared Morris calls his thing now. He's an incredible songwriter. Have you ever heard of the Texases?
No.
They're a local country cover band. They play at Lonesome Rose often. If you ever get the chance to see them play, they're really, really good. All the guys in it are really talented, and they just play old, like, 90s Nashville country stuff.
Cool.
And it's stupid fun. It's just a good time. But this is his solo original content. And then another guy named Chris Madden, who is friends with the people I'm in a band with, Trashy TV. He's played in San Antonio for years and years. And then a duo named Dimitas, who are two members of legendary San Antonio art rock band Buttercup, from back in the late 90s. So that'll be happening there. And then at Paper Tiger, there's a bunch of garage rock stuff happening, a band named Whatever that I really like. It's just a trio, just loud garage rock. A band named The Wizard, which is a duo that does really scuzzy, fuzzed out, guitar heavy stuff. Or, well, I guess he plays bass, but yeah, it sounds like a guitar. The whole thing is just go to St. Mary's, find yourself a spot, set up, and just take in. Because there's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening. I could look at the rest of the lineup if you wanted me to spew on more people.
Well, sure, why not? How often are you able to get out and listen to music and see music?
Now, maybe like once a month. I used to try to go to shows more often. Generally, if I'm able to get out once a month, I'm pretty happy. Events like this don't happen every month. So when they do, I always make a point to like put it on my calendar. Like, I want to go to this, and make sure, you know, me and the missus have an understanding of like how we're going to handle that. And then occasionally they're just random shows that I'm like, you know, people coming through town. Maybe I'll use up my one show a month to go see whomever. But generally, I'll do that and the local show. Like, I try to get out to some venue just to take it in. Maybe I'm playing the show, that'll count too. I just have so much fun with it. There's a place called Imagine Books and Records. Have you heard of it? That is a place everybody should go to, I feel like. There's a lot of venues in town that are wonderful. Imagine Books and Records is one of the places that is perfect in every sense of the word to me. It's a DIY venue. They're all ages, which is very important. And they're accepting of everyone. And they do it right. Like, it's weird to say that sometimes promoters and people involved in the music industry don't do it right, even at the local level. It's, I don't know, you don't promote the show right, or you don't even show up to the show you booked, or when it comes time to pay the artist, you're just not there.
Right.
And Imagine has never done any of that. They've been perfect in every way. They promote the show, they work hard to promote the shows. They're always there. It's a family that runs the place, and it's so cute. They introduce every band themselves. Like, even if they don't even know you that well, they just come up there and they introduce you, and then afterwards, if they really liked you, they'll come out and like say something nice about you afterwards.
Oh, that's so cool.
I don't know, it's like, you know, Jay Leno or whatever calling you over to the desk.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fun. And then after the show, it's their son who was like booking the shows when I was first there, and he's barely college age, and you know, he'd call me and find me and take me to the back room and pay, and like, it's so strange to tell you that that's not that common. Like, not everybody does that. And so
I heard, yes.
So I will sing their praises to the ends of the earth. Go to Imagine Books and Records, support them. They just had a giant fundraiser, and I had so much fun at that show. I didn't even play it. I just went and watched all the different bands, and it was a bunch of different groups around San Antonio all supporting this one place. And, you know, some of them were incredibly professional. There's this local band named Vulcan who plays, I don't know, basically just conjunto or tejano, or what's the type of cumbia. It's just like cumbia music, but they're so good. And it's all the way from them to this like high school band that we saw that dedicated a song to, you know, the class of 2019. We made it, y'all. Like, it was so funny, and I, as rough and raw as they were, it was fun. I had a great time.
Who did you grow up listening to?
Like big bands, or I mean, Weezer, Wilco. The biggest one to me is this guy named Ted Leo. I don't know if you ever heard of Ted Leo. He had a big hit when I was in high school in like the indie college rock radio scene called Me and Mia. And I remember the first time hearing somebody talk about him as an artist and going home and listening to him myself, and like forever being like, this is my guy. Like, now and forever, this is my dude. And it has been that way. Like, I've followed his whole career since then, and I've seen him a number of times, and he's just incredible. And he's like, the way he performs is just like a live wire, just and watching it, it's like that same feeling like I was talking about. Like, I want to do that. I think I can do that, and I want to do that, and he does it so well. So yeah, a lot of people like that.
What was the first? Do you remember the first concert you ever went to?
Yeah.
That's my response.
Well, there's two of them. So I convinced my mom to take me to a concert. It was a Christian rock concert held in, I want to say, the Ingram Park Mall parking lot.
Oh.
It was called Festival con Dios, which, if you know Spanish, means party with God. And it was walking in the gate, a band named the Orange County OC Supertones were playing. And they were my first exposure to ska music. Ska music is like, to this day, ride or die. I love that genre. And it was the last show of that tour that they were doing, and they called it their All Out if you break it, it'll grow back in a month show. And so it was these guys, and ska's hyper and fast and dancey, and they were just going around the whole stage, just dancing and jumping and like kicking and bumping into each other. And I remember that energy and being like, yeah, I love this, So I hate bands that just stand there to this day. It was my first exposure to live music, and I was like, is this what it's always like? And no, it's not. But sometimes it is. And also at that show was Switchfoot before they were famous.
Wow.
And then my second show, like my first proper like rock and roll concert, I went with my brother to see Aerosmith and Stone Temple Pilots open.
Wow.
So yeah, those were my first concerts.
It makes me so mad when I go to concerts and I see people sitting.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, they're up there working their ass off, not for you to sit and not do anything.
That's something that Scott Weiland said at my first
Really?
concert. All those seats you guys are using, they're not for rock shows.
I don't understand. I've had people get mad at me, like, well, so sometimes I've seen Cher 3 times with my mother, right?
Nice.
So like if Cher, when she tours, we'll get my mom a ticket and then we go. And there's usually some old lady behind me who my mom and I are up dancing, and she's mad at me, and I'm like, this is like, Cher would be so pissed if she saw you just sitting there.
Quietly sitting there, yeah.
It's so stupid to me. What about your band? Are you guys out? Are you going to be out performing anywhere?
Man, I'm still trying to get the group together.
Yeah.
So like, having baby now, it's always hell scheduling a band. That's always super hard. Now it's even that much harder, and then everybody that I want to be in the band with me also has family, baby, job, so it's super difficult to schedule all that, and I'm just now getting it together. I actually put up an ad on Craigslist today talking about getting a drummer, because I've been working with a couple of different guys to like try and work it out, and just schedule-wise it's just impossible. So it's like, okay, well, maybe someone else,
So if someone's watching and they are a drummer and they want to be in your band, how do they get a hold of you?
I'm on Instagram. That's a great place to look.
Okay.
I'm at James Hoelscher, which is just my full name. Probably not the best. And then the band is at JH and 000 for James Hoelscher in the Thousands.
So contact him, get him out there, get him.
Yeah.
Let's go, and then we can watch him. What was I going to say? There was one more question I had for you. What do you think that, where do you see music going here in San Antonio?
See, that's an interesting question, because there's a wonderful program that the city itself is funding called San Antonio Soundgarden, and they're doing a lot to take like a census of where the scene is at, and trying to make San Antonio into a place where artists can grow and build themselves and do music full time, or as an original musician, grow yourself to a point where you can take it on the road. You don't have to leave San Antonio. We have so much that happens here where it's somebody was really great and we really liked them and we saw them in their like infinitesimal stage, and then when it came time to like become serious, they left. I mean, because Austin's just up the road, and there's a lot of opportunity there, but it's also so very saturated. A lot of them will experience that the support they had here in San Antonio is not always present. You get that feeling because everybody here is so very supportive that like, I'm just gonna find this everywhere, and it's not really the case. And there's a lot of there's a few people who get out and do it and make it happen, but it's hard to say if that's something that can happen in San Antonio. Like out of Houston has such a strong hip hop scene, and there's been a number of wonderful artists that have just popped out of there and gone on to great things. And San Antonio is its culture is a different thing. It's like I said, it's a very strong Hispanic culture. So we have a number of artists who are very large in that scene, but as a white male, like I don't experience much of that. So the place where I would go if I wanted to do music full time and really push it, the place I would go would be like Austin, because that's where all the white guy music comes from, you know? So maybe I'm just not doing the right thing in San Antonio to like do music full time, but there's enough people here and there's enough support that I can do it in the way that I want to, and I'm perfectly happy with that. But then there's also, there's a whole side of music now that is just internet only, or like they don't do shows, it's all bedroom pop. There's a guy in San Antonio called, I want to say, Finding Hope. He's based out of San Antonio. If you go on his SoundCloud page, he has a song that has like nearly 3 million plays. Like, to put that in perspective, I put out my album a month ago. I have a song reaching, I don't know, about 100 plays. I'm feeling pretty good about that. This guy has a song that has 3 million plays, and he's just a dude who lives in San Antonio. He doesn't tour, he doesn't play shows, he just put up a song on the internet, and it went viral. And like, it's not huge, but that's pretty damn big.
Yeah.
And that's something that anybody can do. The bar for entry for music at this point in history is so low. You can just do it.
What do you think about that? Like, I talk to people about that too, about anybody can go on Instagram and then they're like an influencer. Like,
Sure.
What is that word now? You know, like,
Yeah.
What even is that? Or anybody can, you know, throw up a video on Facebook and you have a talk show. Like, like what do you think that does to the caliber of stuff that's coming out?
Okay, so one of the ways I discover music, I go out of my way a lot to like try and find artists, especially locally, just because I think it's fun. One of the ways I do it is I go on Bandcamp and I just search for the tag San Antonio. Like, my music is tagged San Antonio. Everybody who puts out their music generally will tag it with their location. And I'll just go through, there's a button you can hit for like newest, and I'll just go through and listen to whatever. Anything that looks cool to me, I'll just listen to it. And I will tell you, a lot of it is garbage. Like, because the barrier for entry is so low, like, I can put up my music on Bandcamp for nothing. There's no money I have to pay into it. I just provide the song and they provide the websites. That's amazing. But it also means some guy who was like sitting there in front of his laptop at 2 p.m. was just like, beep, 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 beep. That's a song. And he just tags it ambient experimental and puts it up there. There's a lot of that, but occasionally there's diamonds in the rough. There's guys, man, what is the name of that guy's band? I want to say Joy Division, but that is the name of an actual band. But his group is something very similar to that. And I've never seen this guy play a show or heard of him outside of this, but I found his stuff, and it is awesome. Have you ever heard of the artist M83?
Yeah.
He does that. He does that, or like 1975, like that band. Like, he sounds like those artists. And he's just a dude based out of San Antonio who put out an album of this incredible pop music, and no one ever is going to hear it.
I found M83. I used to work at Borders, the bookstore, and we'd play music all the time. We'd get all the CDs, and then once a month, when we would rotate, all the employees could take CDs, and that's when I was like, yes, and I would find new music, and I would just take them all home, and that's how I found them.
Yeah. They're, man, it's really good. Hurry Up, We're Dreaming is like album of the decade.
Yeah.
It's up there at least. But I love that. I love that the barrier for entry is so low. Like I said, you just have to recognize it. Like, the thing that got me so excited was that realization. Being at that show, seeing Big Soy do it, and going like, I can do this, I can do that, and just going to do it. I think everybody needs something like that. And so if you can just sit down in your room and make some stuff on your laptop, and it's fulfilling to you and it makes you feel good, then do it. And I want to be part of like supporting that. And that's the other thing. Like, a music scene is not just the creatives. We always just think of the artists and the performers, but the promoters are equally important. But also equally important is the third leg of that tripod, which is the consumers. One of the things that when I was talking to people, we talk about other scenes. Like, I feel like Austin doesn't have enough consumers. And to have a very strong scene, you have to have people out there who want and are taking part in it. And you can be both a promoter and an artist and a consumer. But like, to be an active consumer, like, when I find stuff like that, like artists that just blow me away, that I'm like, I've never heard of you. Who the hell are you? ideally they'll have some social media somewhere, and I will find it and I will message them and I'll be like, I heard this thing that you did and it's amazing and I think you should keep doing it and I want to see you at shows and stuff. And I encourage everybody to do that. If you find something local that you like, go up to the person after the show, shake their hand, say you enjoyed it, or like I said, message them. Like, stuff like that makes someone's day, like makes someone's week.
Yep.
Like, just a kind word of like, I liked that thing you did. It's like it carries you for months.
Yeah,
It's
when you're working
amazing.
your ass off, and all it needs, sometimes it's just that one person who're like, oh, thank God someone listened to that today.
Right, yeah. For the album I made, I needed someone to do a bass part, and it had to be like punk rock bass. And all my friends were helping me make the record, but none of them were like punk rock basses. So I went on like Reddit, and I was just like, I need someone to play punk rock bass on this. And some guy came through on it. And so when the album was done, I reposted it to where I found that guy, and I was like, hey, me and this guy collaborated. And a bunch of people listened to that song just from Reddit, and one of them sent me a message like, hey, this thing you did, it was really freaking good. I loved that a lot. And then he put it on his podcast because he was like, here's the thing this people on Reddit made, and I think it's awesome. And I was like, that feels great. Like, it's about stuff like that. Like, he didn't just say like he enjoyed it, but he also built a platform and then showcased it on it. Like you've got here.
That's exactly what happened. I love all of it, and I'm not that talented. So I like to grab the talent and be like, come hang out with me for a little bit, and let me showcase that. That's exactly what the show's about.
And that's a major part of a scene. Like like I was saying, promoters and stuff, it's not just booking shows, it's promoting the artist, it's writing the blogs, it's pointing to people and saying like, this is something you should go see, this is something you should go check out. We need more people doing that. There's never enough people doing that, in my opinion.
I think something that like struck a chord when you said it was like using your resources. So you're like, I just did a Craigslist ad. I was on Reddit for something. Like, use what's out there to find what you need, and don't. I mean, sometimes I guess there's could be shame behind like, I need something and I don't know where to get it. I have this band, but I need a bass player. Like, how do you say like, I need help? Because that's sometimes hard for people who...
Right, yeah. I mean, Craigslist is always... Weirdly, Craigslist has been good to me. I've had, one bad experience of, I went out and was in a band for a while just from a Craigslist thing, and I was like, this is bad. This sucks. I need to get out. But outside of that, I've met some really great friends just because they were like, I liked that thing you did. I think I'd like to be part of it. And it works out. But the other major one is just being part of the scene. Just being present, going out and whatever limited resources you have, putting yourself out there, and then doing the hard work of networking, which I am terrible at, and I hate talking to people. I'm so introverted, and it pains me, and that's why a lot of my stuff is do it online. Just text them online and be like, I like that thing you did. Because I can't say it to their face.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much resources out there for you right now. The only thing holding you back is yourself. You can do it. The way to get better at something is to do it. Just get out and start. To make good songs, you have to write a ton of bad songs. To play good shows, you have to play a lot of bad shows. To make a good talk show, you have to do a talk show.
To do a ton of bad ones.
And I'm glad to be here for one of the bad ones.
Yes, I don't know. We'll figure out later what side of that we're on. I'm not sure. Yeah, but I understand the introverted part, because I will talk to everybody, and then when I'm done, I need to go rest.
I'm going to go home and sit down on the couch for a while and just be like, oh.
Yeah, your wife's going to be like, the baby needs to go to bed, and you're going to be like, I'm in bed already. I can't do this anymore. But I thank you very much for coming and hanging out with me and telling everybody. I want you to come back all the time when something cool's happening and tell them.
I want to. I mean, I'll probably just text you when cool shows are happening, and you can mention it all you want. But if you really want me to show up, I will. Right. I will gladly do
I'll
that.
turn on the camera because I have an idea for you. And then if you don't like it, it's not on film. But thanks for hanging out with me.
That's meeting you. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye, everyone.